When fitting a deadbolt to a door, it is a good idea to have a latch type of lock, such as an entrance set fitted to the door as well. Without a latch, the door will slam in the wind and not latch closed. It is always a good idea to leave at least 150 millimeters between the entrance lock and the deadbolt. Let's use our speed square to mark the position of the lock on the door. Most deadbolts have an adjustable bolt. They can be set at 60 millimeters or 70 millimeters. Adjust your bolt to suit the existing lock on the door. In this case, we will have a back set of 60 millimeters. Mark the hole for the hole saw cut on the side of the door. Then mark the hole for the spade bit cut on the edge of the door. Take your drill and hole saw and drill the large hole in the side of the door. Make sure to drill this hole from both sides. To avoid the wood chipping, use the spade bit to drill the hole in the edge of the door. Make sure you drill this hole straight. Insert the bolt into the hole on the door edge. The bolt face is traced onto the door with a pencil. Make sure you make this mark as close as possible to the bolt's edge. Remove the bolt from the door. It is now time to chisel out the recess for the bolt's face. Using a hammer and chisel, make a light indent inside the lines of the faceplate rectangle. Use a sharp chisel and be careful not to split the timber on the edges of the door. Make sure the flat edge of the chisel is positioned towards the outside of the line. Remove the wood with the chisel to a depth of around 4 or 5 millimeters. This is the depth of the bolt's faceplate. Fit the bolt into the door, making sure it sits flush with the door's edge. Use a screwdriver to screw in the 2 wood screws to hold the bolt in place. Drill a pilot hole for the screws if required. Now the deadlock bolt is installed. Next, we will fit the inside and outside lock cylinders onto the door. The deadbolt cylinders have a tailpiece that rotates. Rotate the tailpiece fully in one position until it stops. Then rotate the tailpiece back 90 degrees. Doing this to both lock cylinders will put one tailpiece in the vertical position and one in the horizontal position. The tailpieces are inserted into the lock bolt cam in this position. Put the inside cylinder on the door first, making sure the tailpiece is going through the spline in the bolt cam. Hold the inside cylinder on the door and put the outside cylinder onto the door. Hold the deadbolt cylinders on the door and tighten up the screws or Allen key bolts. Check the lock is working correctly. The key should turn and withdraw the bolt. It should then turn back to the center where the key can be removed. If the lock is not operating correctly, you probably have the tailpiece in the wrong orientation. Close the door and turn the key to throw the bolt. The bolt will throw a few millimeters and hit the door frame. Mark the position of the center of the bolt on the door edge with a pencil. Use this pencil mark to make a mark on the door frame for the center of the bolt. This is where we will drill our bolt hole. Refer to your lock's instructions for the proper alignment. Using the drill and a spade bit, drill the hole in the frame for the bolt. This hole is usually 25 millimeters deep. It has to accommodate the lock bolt when it is fully thrown. If the bolt does not fully throw, the bolt may be able to be pushed open. So make sure the hole is deep enough. Place the lock strike plate centered over the hole in the frame. Use a pencil to trace around the outside of the strike plate. Trace as close as possible to the edge of the plate. Remove the strike plate and use the hammer and chisel to mark the outline of the strike. This is a similar process as chiseling out the indent for the bolt. Once again, be careful not to split the timber of the door frame. The strike plate will be thinner than the bolt face. It will probably be around 2 millimeters thick, so don't chisel out too much timber for the strike. The aim is to make the strike flush with the timber of the door frame. Only use the flat side of the chisel towards the line. This ensures a crisp cutout that is not indented. Place the strike plate into the cutout you have made on the door frame. Use a screwdriver to screw in the 2 wood screws that hold the strike plate to the door. If you have door frame timber that is hard, you will need to drill pilot holes for the screws. Test the lock for proper operation. Check the key is turning and the bolt is sliding in and out easy. Make sure the bolt is in good alignment with the strike plate. The deadlock is now fitted. If you're in Brisbane and need help fitting a deadbolt, you can call the lock mob anytime.